What's the mission for Tokyo? Where's your starter?
Well, good one to start with. First one of the day. I mean, for me, without going too deep into it, it's obviously to reinstate, reinstate obviously the gold medal. I'd be lying if I didn't want to go there and defend or attack, as I call it. But really, it's just as good as anyone. So I want to go out there with my best performance, and that to get to that, it equals getting the right, mindset, the nerves, the enjoyment, the thrill of it, the adrenaline. But yeah, I want to go out there, just enjoy the process of going through Olympics, which is an incredible process, and hopefully, give the performance that the country deserves, and the world deserves, after going through so much rubbish with COVID-19 and a lot of negativity out there. So I think sport is one of the things which can inspire people and lift people up, and I just want to reinstate that. But we've always had the saying, no matter where we are, we perform, anytime, anywhere. So for me, I can't really see it being an issue. In Rio, everyone thought it was going to be bad racing at 2 a.m. and look what we did at 2 a.m. You just shift the clock around. There are going to be people who struggle with it, people who aren't morning people. Well, that's their issue to deal with individually. But I think as a team, we've got the best scientists, sports scientists. We've got the best people behind the scenes to get the data that we need to perform. But honestly, you can overthink it. It's 2 lengths of the baths, isn't it, for me? And that's the way I'm going to keep it. I swim 2 lengths faster than anyone else on a certain stroke, and that's as simple as I'm going to keep it. And if I have to do that in the morning, I'll do that in the morning. But if I don't, do it at night. But I know it's going to be a longer process, with an Olympics being 9 days long, with the semi-finals, and you've got the mixed medley this time, and then obviously the medley relay. So it's just managing the energy more than anything. I'm not worried about morning finals. I'm worried about going down highs and the lows, and trying to get the best kind of performance at any given time. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot to worry about going to Tokyo, but that's not really for me to worry about, if that makes sense.
Adam, can I ask you about Rule 50? Because obviously athletes are being told they can't make any protests or gestures and stuff. Where do you stand on that? Is that the right stance to take for an Olympics, or do you think athletes should be able to express what they feel?
I think it's hard, because we come from a country which is, I don't know, it just feels like it's hard to speak for someone who is being oppressed, for example, in a different country. But I've always had a certain belief that the Olympics and sport in general shouldn't be political at the same time. I think if you make that crossover, it's where do you draw the line? But I think that people do have the right to protest and have the right to, do it where they want. I don't think they should be fined for expressing their opinion. It's just like me now. If I said something, I wouldn't want to be fined for saying it. But I mean, it's everything with balance, isn't it? I think you don't want to say, that an athlete gets gold on the podium, and then you've got, the silver and the bronze next to them, and then they're, protesting on the podium, and everyone's looking at them. No one's really looking at who's worked 4 or 5 years for getting bronze or getting to silver. I think there is a very fine line. But again, there's so many issues in the world as well. So you don't want to take away the right for those athletes to protest as well. So, on me, it's a very complicated question with a very complicated answer for a very different type of, very different country and a very different athlete, really. I mean, are you safe when you go Tesco? You're only as safe as you're only as safe as your own kind of, your own behavior, I guess. I don't think it's any different than being here. Obviously we're going to Tokyo, and obviously there's going to be a lot of countries that are going to come into the bubble, but really we're still going to be washing our hands, a numerous amount of times. We're still going to be wearing masks. We're still going to be socially distanced. So I think because it's Olympics, exactly like Zika, it's obviously the fanfare which comes around that, is it going to be ready? Are we going to get Zika, et cetera, et cetera. I think, honestly, once the games get started, and hopefully the bubble's success, because I'm sure they've got a plan in place, it's really just having trust in the organisation and trust in the people who organise it, to do that. And as an athlete, I want to obviously be safe and enjoy it, but sometimes you get bad luck, but really it comes down to your own behaviour and making sure that you're doing everything possible to obviously not get COVID-19. But you know, it's still a few months away, and so much, as we know, can change in a few months. If you look at India, a few months ago, we wouldn't have ever thought of, you know, where they are now. So, and I know Japan and I mean, I know Tokyo's in another state of emergency. So will that change in the next 3 months? We don't know. You're asking completely the wrong person for any of this, but I just want to go out there, you know, obviously do the job, and have trust in the people to, you know, put those safety measures in place. When I perform, yes, you're completely right. I do think about my own performance and think about how I'm going to get the best process to get the best outcome. But it's not as simple as I wish it was. But for me, I don't really go out there for myself, not anymore anyway. I go out there for my son, go out there for my family, go out for the people who have supported me, the team, and most importantly, at an Olympics, you go out there for your country. So down that last 50 at the Olympic Games, I know I've got the whole country on my back and behind me, and people would think that as a pressure, and people would like, oh, I don't want that pressure. But I'm like, if you want to be the best in the world, you've got to take that and welcome it and find a way to perform under that. And you know, you get it a lot actually. Pretty much every interview about, you know, can you deal with the pressure going in? No one's ever defended an Olympic title, but I'm like, I think I'm one of the most chilled out people to possibly do it. But I mean, that's just me. I'm very chilled, and I know exactly what process I've got, such as trials. Like I used to get nervous for trials because I'm like, oh, if I don't do this, I don't do that. But I'm like, I'm so laid back, and I think having, you know, a son now as well has just made me appreciate these moments a little bit more. So there's only there's only more freedom that can come from this now. So I'm excited to, you know, race at Olympics with the knowledge and the experience and the wisdom that I've got and gathered over the last 5 years. But it's an Olympic Games, guys. You know, it's fun. I think win or lose, nothing really changes in a sense. So I'm just completely free. But going back to the original question, that of course I'm aware of the competition, but I'm not focusing on them. No.